We are recording.
Hey, YouTubers, how you doing?
Because that wasn't creepy at all.
Not at all. I'm not creepy. I'm just strange. I mean, yeah. All right. Since I'm apparently doing this every week. Alrighty. Uh, Last session, we talked with the parents of the children and searched the properties. The basic deduction is that it is most likely a person that plays a large musical instrument, such as a harp or a cello. Of the people in town that play instruments, which is most of the town, the three that play large instruments, per Becky's mothers, are the blacksmith, the doll maker, or the innkeeper of the Liar's Lyre. Durkar cast Locate Object, and the buzzing came into his head about halfway, 5 minutes ish, into the spell's duration, but the spell is currently muted and not allowing him to correctly locate the object which he is searching for, which is the cloth he found at Ryan's house outside the window. Um, Questions of where do we go at this point is do we go talk to Valero first and find out about the blacksmith and the doll maker? Or do we go question the blacksmith and the doll maker first? The doll maker was a halfling. The commoner shoe prints looked to be bigger than halfling size, per the information that Durkar got. Valakad believed the doll maker uh, that quote unquote no essence was needed to build these dolls, which doesn't mean he's not taking the kids for other reasons, but what other reason would there be if he is, just kind of there to make dolls? And we haven't met the blacksmith yet, so who really knows there? And then the third person that we have uh, is someone we've seen multiple times, and it makes no sense that should be stealing kids as the uh, innkeeper essentially. So that's where we're at.
Well, let's be clear. It never really ever makes sense to steal kids. Just, just to throw that out there.
I mean, I could totally see stealing a kid to make them into a doll, a weird, creepy doll that follows you around. Like I feel like there's movies that are based on that.
Or Chucky?
Kinda like I think that was like a soul of a demon or an adult or something stuffed in the doll. But I feel like there was a movie that had something like where kids were being taken and then like made into stationary objects or something like that. But I don't know. I totally felt like that's where it was going until the insight check where the doll maker seemed to be on the up and up.
I think the doll maker just seems strange. That doesn't mean he's guilty of anything.
I, I don't know about the doll maker himself, but the dolls are definitely strange.
Okay. I notice that when you're listing these people to look into, you don't include the innkeeper. Is there a reason why?
No, I said that it just seemed strange that. Well, I mentioned the innkeeper. I said that it just seems strange that this lady would be stealing kids. Um, we don't know anything about the blacksmith, so we don't know there. But out of the three, with knowing nothing about the blacksmith, right away I want to say doll maker just because of the creepy dolls that look like they're looking around. But outside of that, it very well could be the innkeeper, but I just don't see a reason why. Unless the meat that we've been eating has been children. I guess that could make sense.
That's a little further than I expected to go on it. But I guess it's possible.
I mean, humans love eating baby cow and baby deer, so
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking Corton green instead of Soylent green. Not quite sure where the Soylent comes from in Soylent green, but pardon me. I know you can hear me hacking away over my dad's mic.
but if that's the case, we're gonna have some really bad news for these parents.
Well, let's not make it bad news until it is.
So how many locations do we have to go to?
Based on the instrument stuff, it's the innkeeper, the blacksmith, and the doll maker. We're currently wandering around the center of town near the marketplace area, and we could either check out one of the three places and talk to people, or we could go to Valero and report our findings and see if he has any input on the three people that may or may not. It could totally be somebody else besides these three that Becky's moms told us about.
I'm not sure that Valero is going to be very helpful. He struck me as being completely overwhelmed by his position. And so I guess it's a possibility that one of his people could know. But I suspect that he won't. Maybe we should go to the instrument players first.
My thoughts with Valero is even though in the position that he's in over his head. He's been a resident and in the hierarchy of this town for probably most, if not all, of his life, so he might know these people and give us some insight to them versus knowing what they're up to, kind of thing.
I agree, you could be right, but I don't know. I guess one way or another, we got to check it out.
Looks like Durkar wants to go to the doll maker. He rolled a d4.
Pure random chance. We were undecided, so I'd say, all right, let's do it that way. I did that because I didn't know because it sounded like we were just butting our heads on what to do. So I was like, that's one way to make a decision.
Okay. That's almost as good as just flipping a coin.
Basically, a four-sided coin.
Yeah, well, I think you're going to have to work some to get one of those.
Yeah, coins only have 3 sides, buddy.
Oh, the fourth dimension. The last side is the inside.
Nice.
Unless anybody's got a better idea, the D4 roll with the 4 options.
Okay, so you guys have decided on going to the doll maker. Is that what I'm hearing?
Sounds like it.
Yep.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, I think you guys left it at the Liar's Liar. Um, and if I remember right, it was later in the evening.
I think we were literally walking around trying to follow Durkar's ping in his head.
Yeah, it took us to the
Okay.
center of town where it just became a buzz. I couldn't tell a direction.
Okay. Um, so you guys are standing in the middle of town, um, kind of debating on where to go. And after some discussion, you decide to head over to the doll maker. Um, ask him some questions. Pardon me. Um, you make your way over to his little shop, and as you enter, he looks up from a work table that he's sitting at.
I'm going to stay outside before you go too much further. I'm going to stay outside, circle the outside of the building, and see if I can't find any more tracks or doors for a storage area underneath.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not going in this time. It's just
Okay. Um, the see, did I say this guy's a halfling or gnome? I don't remember.
it was small. That's all I remember.
Pretty sure I said he was a gnome. So unless somebody,
I'm looking at this.
Well, either way, his form is um, leaning over this short work table, and he's working on something. And as you come in, he kind of looks up, kind of squints at you, um, adjusts his spectacles, and squints again. And says, "Ah, welcome. Um, I'm I'm afraid it's your doll is not ready yet. Um, I have much more work to do on it. Uh, I thought we had agreed on 10 days, and
My sincerest apologies. We're trying to check in on some check in on something. We heard that you like to play an instrument in your spare time.
well, yes. Um, Many people in town play instruments. Occasionally, some of us get together and play for the town. Well, during festivals or simply get-togethers, celebrations, that type of thing.
Interesting. What kind of instrument do you play?
Um, he points over into the corner, and there's a case for a large I'm sorry, not woodwind, stringed instrument. The case itself is, it's not in the best of shape. You can tell that it's very old. Um, it's kind of falling apart, but it's still doing its job of holding the instrument. Um, he goes over and he pulls it open, and inside is it's a cello, but it's not a human-sized cello. It's a little larger than would be appropriate for a gnome-sized cello. Jeez.
Um, like
Sorry, we just had like 45 motorcycles drive by.
ah,
I just love those guys.
Sorry, go ahead.
um, I
Roll 20 just crashed on me.
Okay. Go and bring it back up.
I have always wanted to learn. Would you mind if I take a look at your instrument? I understand that some people are very particular about their instruments. I just was kind of curious.
Go ahead and give me a persuasion check. He looks at you and he looks slightly uncomfortable. But he says, "Sure." And he pulls it out of the case, and it's much better taken care of than the case is. Um, it looks almost in pristine condition. There's a little bit of wear and tear on it, that you can see on the sides um, where a hand might brush while playing or something like that. But other than that, it's well taken care of. It's in um, almost immaculate condition. And he brings it over and um, kind of hooks his foot around the leg of a chair and pulls it out for you and offers you a seat.
I will take the seat,
And,
and
and he will place the instrument um, between your knees and give you the bow, and then he takes your hand and kind of positions it on the strings on the neck and shows you where to place the bow on the strings. And basically, I'm not knowing how to play a stringed instrument like that. I will just say he instructs you on how to play.
amazing. Um, I will kind of fondle um the cello for a little bit, and kind of try and you know do a couple of jiggy jaggies with the bow, which probably don't sound great, but I'm gonna kind of with the hand that's around the neck, I'm gonna um kind of like rub at the top of the neck and see if I can get any information out of the cello.
Okay. I'm like, get any information out of it? What are you expecting it to talk? I didn't see.
Yes,
I didn't see that
I'm
you.
hoping that it'll let me in on any secrets it might have, like being able to charm little children.
Give me just a second here. Sorry, give me just another moment here. Um, as you are identifying it, you see that it is indeed enchanted. Um, it has the ability to cast command, friends, and suggestion. I guess it'd be um, friends, command, and suggestion would be the order. You hear that?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm looking them up at the moment. Um, and I'm not proficient in any instruments, but I'm sure a ship probably had stringed instruments. So even though I might not know how to play, I'm sure I know how to screw something up. Um, so at the end of this, I'm just gonna kind of like twist the bow just the tiniest bit and kind of make a shriek
Okay.
and like kind of freak out and kind of take the bow uh off the cello and handed it back out to him and just be like, maybe maybe plucking is better. Do you know anybody that has like plucking strings, like a harp or something? I really don't know anybody. You're the only person really that we've talked to. Um, but a few people here and there in town, so I don't want to, buy a spend the money to buy something and then 2 weeks later find out that I don't like it and money wasted.
He just nods his head as he takes the bow back from you and um, he kind of impatiently waits for you to give him back his cello.
I will hand it right over.
Okay. And as he's putting it away, he stops to think for a few moments and says, um, if it is plucking instruments you're looking for, um, I know there are several of the militia who um, play lutes, guitars, yarlings, you know, instruments such as that. Um, the harp itself, like you asked, is um, kind of a prestige instrument. I
So I'd
believe
probably suck at that. Gotcha.
the crap, where'd it go? I believe Lena Strongforce plays a harp, as well as her daughter Kara. Um, Possibly Angaby. I'm not sure. I know she plays an instrument. I can't recall what instrument I've seen her playing though. A harp seems like it might be up her alley though.
Okay. I will try and talk with some of them and see if I can make a decision. My apologies for the intrusion, and thank you very, very much for letting me have a try.
Not a problem. Who all went into the store with you, or did you go alone?
Did anybody come in with me or no?
Yeah, I was in there.
I was standing by the door.
Okay. Then all three of you give me perception checks.
I was too busy making beautiful music.
I'm not sure if beautiful is the right word, but we'll go with it.
Beautiful screeches.
Sure, that'll work. Um,
Music only a harpy could love.
hey, the harpy music in BG3 is awesome. I could totally see why people get enthralled by that shit.
Until the enchantment stops and you realize it's all screeches.
Ugh. Let's see. As you look around the store, um, first of all, it's a small store. It's um, you guys are having to kind of no, because Dirkar is able to enter it. So no, it's it's a humanoid sized store, but it is small. Um, maybe 7 feet across total. Um, behind the small counter and work table that he's using, or that he's has set up as a work table currently. Um, you see several shelves covered in, or full of dolls. There are currently about Um, 12 dolls on the walls. On the wall behind the counter. Um, all of them are roughly 2.5 feet tall. No, 2 to 3 feet tall. Let's put it that way. Um, and they're all of the exquisite detail that make them look so amazingly lifelike. And as you move around the shop, it looks like each one of them is watching you. And of course, each one is dressed individually. Each one appears to be one of a kind. Um,
Are the dolls to scale?
Pretty close. They would be about the size of a halfling or gnome child.
Okay, what I was thinking was that the doll uh, of Durkar, since he is so tall, the doll should be larger than a doll, say, of a gnome.
The one he's working for Durkar is
Mhm.
also going to be about 2 to 3 feet. At least
Okay,
one of them is.
so they're not anatomically to scale, but
Um, one of Durkar won't be.
okay.
As far as the ones on the wall, they, as far as you can tell, they are. But again, they're made to mimic. I guess not really mimic, but what is the word I'm thinking? Thinking of they're, I guess, inspired by um, much smaller creatures. And all the motorcycles come back. Not quite sure why, but they do. Bunch of them riding Rikers too, which is basically a three-wheeler. If you guys aren't aware, I know Sky knows what it is, but anyway, see Airmail, let's see. There were some other details I wanted to give Airmail and Reardon for their higher roles, but I can't remember what they were now. Oh well. If I remember later, I'll inform you later. Wasn't anything crucial, it's just Okay. So anyway, um, what are you guys doing? Are you guys leaving now, or?
I will start to walk towards the door and kind of try and give an eye towards um Aramel to, you know, nod in an eye to exit. And as I exit, I'll turn around and say again, thank you very, very, very much for letting me try out your beautiful cello.
Just nods his head and says, "You're very welcome. I'm always happy to help inspire others to take up musical instruments. They are wonderful ways to express individuality."
I'll follow him out.
Okay, so everyone heads out the door. You are standing outside the entrance of the dollmaker shop. What do you guys want to do from here?
Did your car find any storage or anything like that?
Oh, right. Durkar, give me a perception check. Um, okay, what was it you were looking for, Durkar? You said a cellar and what
Footprints of
else?
the smaller, well, footprints of the smaller type, like a under house stellar external door type of thing. Anything that might look a little off.
Okay. Um, well, there are definitely footprints around the building. Um, Smaller footprints. Um, Smaller type, like halfling gnomish size footprints, not you know humanoid or human size, basically. Um, and there is a cellar in the back of the um, shop, I guess. There's a cellar door leading down into cellar underneath the shop.
Alrighty, I'll send my dragon now around to the front to wait for them to come out, and then lead them around because I make too much noise trying to be sneaky.
Okay.
See if I can't get one of our rogues to take a look at the downstairs.
Okay. Uh when the rest of the party exits the shop, your car is standing there waiting for you.
I'll go over to him.
I will quietly ask if he found anything.
Not much, a lot of footprints, but looks like there's some type of cellar underneath the building. I don't want to chance me going down there. I'll make too much noise. So if one of you want to take a look, that would be good, unless you get vibes from the inside that tells us elsewhere.
Well, I think we should maybe go talk with the blacksmith or the innkeeper.
Alrighty.
Get a feel for them, maybe.
So if we want to take that one, that would be Falero. If we're still going the undecided route.
Sure, we could head over to the barracks. That's perfectly fine with me too.
Okay, I'll follow along.
On the way, when we get 2-3 buildings away from the doll maker, I'm gonna mention that his cello casts some interesting spells that might enchant or charm or lull somebody out of a house. I didn't want to, you know, burn any bridges, and I didn't want to question him as a suspect. But getting my hands on his cello is some conflicting information. I trust that he doesn't need an essence of a person to make these dolls, but at the same time, what I learned from his cello suggests the exact opposite. Maybe we should talk with the blacksmith and the innkeeper before we come to a conclusion, but they could have instruments that do the same or different or better or more powerful spell. I don't know, but very suspicious spells that it casts or that he can cast through it.
Well, do we want to be thorough or do we want to go after the first tailings of not useful items doing bad things when they're not supposed to be that particular type, and just call the doll maker the guy and go after him, or
No, I think that's kind of short-sighted. We know that his cello is enchanted, but is it only to make sweet music, and maybe mesmerize the listeners, or is it something more nefarious? And also, I
just
think,
bring.
well, just if we're going to go to Falaro with just this one, I think that may be premature. I mean, I'll go if that's the way you want to do it, but it would seem to me that we should try to at least temporarily or uh, not temporary, cursory investigation of the other two, so that we have some comparison of their instruments at least.
I agree wholeheartedly. I just wanted to wait to discuss this so we weren't right outside his house.
Makes sense. One thing that did occur to me as you were looking at the cello, uh, can you see where there was any mud or debris of any sort on the standing spike? Or
White with a 10. Did I notice anything on the down below?
Um,
It would have been just like a glance kind of thing. I wasn't specifically looking for that.
if at any point it was dirty like that, it had been cleaned up. So no, you didn't notice any mud or anything along that lines.
And I will say, as far as I could tell, it was pretty clean, except for a couple of places that have been worn from holding it at the top of the neck or whatever.
All right, which one's closest to us now?
Just out of curiosity, is there a reason you're limiting it to these three?
Becky's mothers told us about these three.
Okay.
I'm not saying it is these three. I never. Part of the summary was that Becky's mothers told us about these three, and that it could be one of these three or totally somebody else.
when Valakad was in there talking with the doll maker, he did ask for anyone else who might be playing uh, a larger instrument, stringed instrument. And in addition to his, he gave I guess 3 other people.
The militia plays an assortment of stringed instruments, which lutes and lyres and guitars, and I'm not worried about. 2 people in the Strong Force family have or play harps, which could be a possibility as well. But as the we can't rule out anybody, but as the most powerful, family of the town, again, I'm iffy on that.
Okay, and um, I believe he said he thought the innkeeper played, but he couldn't remember her instrument.
Correct. And Becky, I don't think Becky's moms had said what she plays, but that she played a bigger instrument or something like that. It was either a harp or a cello or something.
Okay, well, I still think that we should at least investigate these few people so that we have some comparisons before we go to see Falaro.
Definitely.
So again, back to my question: which one's closer to us out of the remaining?
Wait.
Sorry, I was muted. You're kind of on the west side of the square, where of the town square currently. The blacksmith would be on the south side, and the um, liars would be northeast.
And where's the barracks?
South.
Let's do Liar's Liar first. And then we can head to the blacksmith, and then we'll be right next to the barracks.
Sounds good.
Are you going to give these Strongforce family a pass at this time?
This late at night, I think so. Um, see if we can find any information on the other two, and then we can possibly go and talk to them tomorrow morning.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, so you said blacksmith first?
Liar's Liar first.
Liar first, okay. Make your way back over to the tavern. Um, you make your way inside. Durkar, give me a perception check.
Or your baby.
Never mind. Um, you guys, you make your way into the tavern. Um, what do you do once you enter?
Let's see if I can find Anjabi, right?
And give me a um, she is currently busy pouring some mugs of something behind the counter.
I will try the same thing again. I'll stroll over to the counter and ask if she has a couple minutes. I realize you're really busy with the crowd, but you can spare some time. I'm curious about musical instruments.
She just kind of looks at you, gives you a confused look, and raising an eyebrow. She says, "I find a seat, and I'll get to you when I can."
Thank you, ma'am.
And she comes out from behind the counter with 4 mugs in each hand, all of them sloshing over with contents. And she goes and hands them off to like 3 different tables, and then comes back and fills up. Let's see what 5 more mugs. Brings them over to where you guys are seated. Just kind of sets them down for all of you, and she kind of leans back against the table next to you guys and says, "Now, what is it I can do for you?"
I'm I'm interested in learning an instrument, but I don't know what instrument to learn. And instead of buying one and figuring it out and then not liking it, I was curious if I could. I understand that Corton has some pretty prestigious music aficionados, and I was curious if I could try your instrument out and see if it's something that I'd like to learn.
Give me a persuasion check. Okay. She sits there smirking at you while you are talking about um, prestigious instruments and such. And she just kind of just gives you a smile the entire time. And she says, "Sure, you can take a look at my harp." And she goes and pulls it down off the wall. Um, Instrument, it's old, not in the best of shape. Um, there's a lot of wear and tear. There are even a couple of broken strings that have been um, repaired, but not quite, not completely replaced, just like repaired. So, um, yeah.
Totally doesn't sound like a magical item. Um,
She hands it to you, kind of helps you position it. Um, and she says, "Don't mind those strings. You don't need them anyhow." And then she goes over and kind of leans on Durkar.
Oh.
Leans her arm on Durkar's shoulder, kind of leaning against him, and goes goes ahead and starts instructing you on how to play a harp without using all the strings that should be normally available.
and I will follow her instruction while kind of moving my hands up and down the strings and see if I can gather any information from it.
It is not a magical item. It is a mundane harp.
He's a dwarf.
She is.
Okay. How big is this harp?
Um, it's a little more compact than a standard harp. It's intended to be played while being carried, as opposed to a typical harp, which is a um, what is the word? Um, I don't know. Basically, it's a piece of furniture. A typical harp is like not something you carry around with you. It's something that
Yeah, a human-sized harp would be a 7 foot tall frickin'
yeah,
behemoth that weighs a shit ton, and yeah.
yeah. This is for lack of a better term, considering a marching harp. It's it's intended to be carried around and used in mobile circumstances as opposed to concert hall type thing.
Just for shits and giggles, I will look at the base of it and see if there's like any mud or grass or leaves or anything.
Okay. Then for shits and giggles, give me a perception check or investigation check. I'll let you choose.
Modifier of 1 difference. Come on, roll. Come on, let's see. What do we want to do?
It's a little dark in here, but doesn't look like there's any dirt on it.
No dirt. Awesome, perfect. Wasn't her. Sweet. Um, I will continue to play for like 5 minutes and try and like, honestly try it, and yeah, and then I'll probably give it back and thank her profusely.
Okay. Well, she spends the entire time leaning up against her car, and when you are giving it back to her, she seems reluctant to change her position. Um,
I'll smack her on the butt to get her moving.
when you do, she just ooh, kind of responds. And she kind of looks back at you and smiles, and grabs the harp, and as she walks away, she addresses the group, but it is looking directly at um, Durkar and says, um, "Next time you want to play with my harp, just let me know."
Woo!
And then she walks away.
Squeeze box.
Nothing subtle about that at all.
No. Off to the last one.
Suppose so.
On the way out, I'll toss her a gold as we go on to the next.
Um, she catches it and um, drops it between the drops it in the cleavage of her bodice and gives you a wink.
Alrighty.
Okay. So you guys head out and you are headed to blacksmith.
Yep.
Okay. Um, you cross the square. Um, as you get to the blacksmith, um, uh, it is an elderly halfling. Um, there's a wooden plaque. Um, uh, Wooden sign, I guess. I forget what they're called, but they hanging from the roof of the smithy, and it says crap, what's his name? Leighton. It says Leighton's Arms and Armor. And it actually looks like he is in the looks like he's actually in the middle of um, shutting his smithy down for the evening.
His race.
I'm sorry.
What's his race?
He is a halfling.
You said he's elderly.
Yeah. I mean, he's an older halfling, but he's definitely still very fit and capable of doing his job. I mean, he's definitely still got the muscles.
I will, seeing him starting to shut down, I'll kind of jog over and say, "Excuse me, are you Leighton, sir?"
I am. If you're needing something worked on, you're gonna have to wait until tomorrow. I'm shutting down for the night.
I would absolutely love to see what you have in stock, and we can totally wait till tomorrow. I was actually curious about something a little more non-work related. Um, I had heard that you play an instrument. I heard that a lot of people play instruments in this fair town of yours. Um, but I really don't know people, and I've been wanting to learn to play an instrument, and I want to, give a couple instruments a try before I, buy and find out that I don't like something. And I know that you don't know me, but Burton mentioned that you play instruments and what's their mom's names? Mom's names. Jeannie and Maya had mentioned it, and I was just really curious if you'd show me your instrument and how you play it.
He's just staring at you like, what the fuck? Go and give
I
me,
am ready to go home. What the fuck are you doing here?
yeah, give me a perception or a persuasion check.
If there was ever a roll to get high.
Yeah, he kind of looks you over and says, "Furton, what are you talking to that old coot about me for?" And as he continues to um, put his tools aside and um, try to cool down the forge and or whatever it takes to break down or stop uh, Smithy for the evening. Yeah, he continues shutting down basically.
We were just talking to him. He's making a doll for our uh, golden friend over here.
He,
Um,
he'll look up and kind of look at Dirkhard, just kind of look him up and down for a couple moments, just raising an eyebrow, and then go back to let's doing whatever he was doing.
I was just he showed me his cello and kind of taught me a little bit. Yeah, no, I couldn't say it this time. Um, um, he was showing me his cello and kind of teaching me how to play, and um, I was asking about other people. I didn't really seem to get the hang of the cello. Made some mm, just kind of all like shudder and made some really bad noises off of that thing. And then Anjali showed me how to play her harp, and I'm not sure it's the right thing, but it could be. Like I'm just trying to
Well,
get a handle on it.
hopefully you take a look at somebody else's harp because Ingeby's harp is kind of falling apart.
Yeah, it was kind of missing some strings. She said that you didn't need to use those strings, but why would they put those strings there in the first place if you weren't supposed to use them?
You really don't play an instrument, do you? You just kind of
I grew up on a ship, and there were other people that like to do that. But I feel like I need to branch out, maybe.
he just kind of smiles at you and shakes his head and says, Yeah. Give me a minute. Let me finish this up, and I'll grab it for you. Um. It takes him another maybe 7 or 8 minutes to finish shutting down for the evening, and he goes over to the bucket and kind of scrubs his arms and his hands and his face and neck, and what was fairly clean water when he started is now pretty much black. As he finishes, um, but he takes a moment, kind of um, grabs what looks like a pretty clean towel, kind of dries himself and his face and his hands and everything. And again, the towel is pretty much black by the time he's finished. It's dirty job. Um, but his complexion and his hair are about 4 shades whiter, or brighter, I should say, when he finishes. Um, and he goes into the other room, into the back room, and you can hear him. Um, you can kind of hear him talking to himself, and you hear you can hear the strings of an instrument being um, plucked, I guess, tested. Might be a better description. And as he's on his way back out, you can hear him. Something falls over, and he kind of cusses, and there's like a clatter, and um, a helmet kind of rolls out of the back room, and he's kind of hopping on one foot, carrying a very large loot as he comes out of the back room. And he continues grumbling under his breath in Dwarvish. But after a couple of moments, he comes up to you and he hands you it's very large loot. Consider it a bass guitar. Only back when they actually had the acoustic guitars, the bass guitar would be quite a bit larger than the a bass guitar would be just a little smaller than a cello. Um, and he brings it out to you. He says, normally, I would have this on a stand and I would play it on the stand, but you're large enough, you probably don't need the stand. So, and he kind of lifts the strap, um, exp- expecting you to lean down and let him put it over your neck.
I'll lean down.
Okay. He kind of puts it over your neck, adjusts it, and he kind of positions your finger on the neck, and as you stand up, you feel the weight of the guitar of the bass, and it's I'm sorry, not the bass, the lute, and it's fairly heavy. Um, Not something that you would expect him to hold for any extended period of time. And he spends some time instructing you on how to use it, how to play it.
Um, I will take his instruction, and as of course I am caressing the neck of the lute, I will see if I can gather any information.
Okay. The lute is enchanted, but it appears to be um, endurance enchantment. Um, Durability. That's better. Um, it increases the durability of the instrument, makes it less prone to wear and tear, and it also allows the um, player to cast a stamina buff on the crowd, um, whoever's listening to the music.
Essentially, so that they can last longer at the concert per se.
Yeah, last longer concert or um, dance longer, party longer, basically.
Gotcha. After we're done, after like 5 minutes or so, I'm gonna thank him again, and I'll lean down and see if he can help me with getting this thing off my neck. Um,
Yeah, he untangles it from your whatever else you have back there, weapons or gear or whatever, and pulls it off over your head for you, and takes it back from you.
all right. Can I roll a performance just to see how well?
Sure. Um,
It was only 5 minutes, but
Give me a second. Roll 2d6, guy. Or Valgad. Okay, for the next hour, everyone has Advantage on Constitution checks and 3 temporary hit points. Not that I'm expecting 3 temporary hit points to, you know,
It's going to change the outcome of the game.
right? But
Um,
yes, you are all under the effects of Bear's Endurance for the next hour.
and guys, I'm gonna go out on see if I can find out anything from those people we don't like to talk about. Gonna use ear to the ground
Okay, can you link that for me?
and they show up.
There we go.
I will mention to Leighton again, like, thank you very, very much. And obviously, I didn't try the best harp in the world, but um, I think I might like this lute playing. I seem to be better at this than either of the other two instruments I've tried so far.
Well, once you get the hang of the lute, it's pretty easy.
Can I give you anything? I know that you had to stay late a little bit. Can I give you anything for your time?
Uh, no, it wasn't really that big of a deal. Just it was just a weird request. That's all.
I totally get that. I'm sorry about the weirdness. It's yeah. It's kind of a sudden thing this evening that I just had to go out and see if I could find some instruments. So
Okay, well, the hopefully you've made up your mind. And he goes back and kind of kicks the helmet back into the other room, and you can hear the strings of the lute kind of um, I don't know, vibrate as he hangs it back up on the wall. And he comes back out and says, "Is there anything else I can do for you folks?"
not tonight. We will wait till tomorrow to bother you with your inventory. Good sir.
Okay, then you go. You folks have yourself a good evening.
Now we'll head out.
Okay, kind of watches the party go. Um, again eyeing Durkar. Um, it even he even kind of steps up to the door and watches you guys as you um, I don't know, walk out into the square, walk down the street, whatever you want to call it. Wherever you guys head, he just kind of watches you as you walk away. Specifically, Durkar. As far as you, uh, Reardon, as they are talking about this loot, you kind of slip out into the street and make your way around to a dark alley. Um, let's see, where you meet um, a young gnomish girl. Um, she looks innocent, but as you approach her, you recognize her as um, a member of a local thieves guild.
So I get her attention and speaking in thieves' camp and, and tell her that I'm looking for information about the missing children.
She kind of stops and looks you up and down for a moment. Um, you can see that her hand is uh, very lightly um, resting on the hilt of a dagger, and she says, "What are you working with the militia here in town?"
No, we're we're looking for the parents of the missing children. We have noticed that the authorities are about useless. So any information will be helpful.
Well, first thing you gotta know is there are more missing than what you've been told. You got the four from the hoity-toity families here in town, but we're missing another four from our guild,
Okay.
and we they don't have any families to report them to the militia.
Any information that you have that helps us find any of the children, if they're the ones for your guild, and we'll make sure they're returned to you.
All we know for sure is that on the nights that children have gone missing, the um, there's a music um, some kind of music heard through the streets. Uh, we almost didn't put it together until um, that last child was taken, not the most recent one, but the one before that. Ryan. When he was taken, that was when we put the music to the, or we started to associate the music with the abductions.
Thank you. That confirms information that we have gathered. You didn't know or know what type of instrument was playing the music, do you?
Something, you know, I'm no music maker, but it's something very um, deep and resonant.
Okay.
Something that echoed through the streets.
Uh, that's more than what we had. Thank you for the information. And I will slip her a gold coin.
And she will kind of grimace and um, say thank you, and then she will give you back your gold coin or gold pouch, gold purse. If you can, if you can get my friends back, we will make sure to find a suitable compensation for you.
We will that we can. And I'll back up into the shadows and work my way back to the group.
Okay. Um.
AFK.
Okay. Let's actually all go take a break. It's about that time. Um. Go stretch. Get your drinks. Get your snacks. Use the restroom. Whatever you guys need to do.
Play Boulder's Gate.
Hey now, don't get sidetracked.
I got a
Yeah,
Steam Deck. I can do two things at once.
Baldur's Gate is not a good idea, at least not for me. Last Friday night? I think it was Friday night. Or maybe it was Saturday night. I don't know. I got on and I went to bed at 2:30 because I didn't realize it was 2:30.
Yeah, BG3 can definitely suck the hours away.
What they need is a giant freaking clock in like out of the way in like a corner of the screen so that I can every once in a while look up and go, "Oh, hey, I've been in here for 3 hours. Time to save and get out."
Yeah, they should have one up by the map, the mini map, like they did in WoW.
Exactly.
It's called Set Your Alarm on Your Phone.
I don't think about that.
Except I never remember to look at the clock in WoW either.
I'm looking at the map all the time, so I'm looking at the clock all the time in WoW. But in yeah, in PG, it's Yeah, it's so immersive that, yeah. One more thing. Just one more thing. Just one more thing.
Well, there's a
Check the phone. Oh crap! It's 1:30 in the morning. Well, now I need to get to a safe place. One more thing. One more thing. It's 2:30. Why am I getting so tired? Oh, it's 2:30 in the morning. I should probably just save and get the hell out.
there's a huge difference between seeing the clock that says 1 a.m. and recognizing that, oh shit, 1 a.m. I need to sleep. I mean, there's a huge difference between seeing the clock and recognizing, it's
True, but
bedtime.
if they just gave us that little piece at least, then I would have some sort of excuse. I don't know.
Much as I hate to say it, I doubt they'll do it.
I'm back.
Come on, you come in. One, two.
I'm in Burgundy at a medieval castle. The only difference with this medieval castle is it's only 26 years old. It's called Guédelon. It was started 26 years ago by people who wanted to build a castle the medieval way. So every method they're using is from the 12th and 13th centuries. They are felling the trees in the forest. You have stone carvers. You have iron forgers who are making the nails in a workshop. Gardeners who are cultivating the kind of foods they ate back then. And they are discovering a lot of things about how people worked, about some of these heritage crafts. And they've had a lot of connections with Notre Dame Cathedral. When Notre Dame burned, people here were using the skills needed to restore and rebuild Notre Dame. This place gets 300,000 visitors a year. A lot of school kids come out here. We watched a forger with a giant bellows heat his fire up to over 1,000 degrees so that he could hammer out these nails. We watched people making dyes from ochre, from clay, from leaves in the forest. They even have their own quarry where they are getting the stones for this castle out back. So everything they need is from around here. Just like in medieval times, you could not bring it from far. It had to be all around you.
I'm here. I'm watching Sky's videos. Which is usually a mistake, 'cause then I start falling down the rabbit hole. I want to go see that castle.
Yeah, me too, very much so.
Where is that at? I don't think it actually said.
It's in Burgundy.
That's like France, right? Part of France? Somewhere near France? I don't know.
I believe so, yes.
My geography sucks, dude. Okay, is everyone here? So we can continue?
I'm here.
I'm here.
That's three. I guess we're waiting on his
I'm
director.
always here.
Okay, there we go. Um,
Lost Durkar into some BG.
yeah. Is that where you disappeared on us, Durkar? BG?
No, I'm playing it on the Steam Deck, so I'm doing both at the same time.
You're playing Baldur's Gate while we're playing?
No, it's about break time. I just started a new character to test out what a bard is about.
Okay. Um, so, with, what was it, Reardon going off and getting a little bit more information from some of his contacts, the party meets back up in front of the blacksmith. Reardon, are you going to share the information you've gained, or are you going to keep it to yourself?
Yes. So I'll share it with them, let them know that there was 4 other children that were taken. They didn't have parents. And at the time they were became missing, okay, there was music playing in the streets. And it had a bass tone to it. And I was sitting here and I'm thinking that the cello has a bass tone.
And then
Probably
there's the
more
fact,
than a harp does.
yeah, and the harp was not magical. Um, this lute was magical, and obviously we didn't see the stand, but the spells that I got from the lute were um one that helps with the endurance of the crowd, and one that helps with the endurance or durability of the actual instrument, not something that would lure people away. And just keep going back to the doll maker. The spells just make sense to lure someone away. Not to say again that it couldn't be um, somebody in the Strong Force family, but they've had their own stuff that they've been dealing with for the last couple of weeks with Osric, and if it is their family in some way, then we wouldn't want to talk to Falero about that because he's part of their family.
I think it's time we talk to Falero about the information we do have, and maybe don't include reference to his family at all at this time.
Yeah, I mean, the reference to his family were both harps, so which again we're back up to the high pitched string instrument.
Well, actually, a harp uh, covers the same range as a piano. So
Yes, but the what Reardon just said was it was a bass sound.
yes,
So you would play the whole harp probably, not just, 4 or 5 strings that are at the lower end.
well, that's true. Uh, yeah, a cello is a baritone instrument, and of course, then there's the bass violin, which is deeper yet. But there haven't been any of those here in town that we know of.
So I guess to the barracks.
Sounds good. I kind of wonder how the militia is going to take finding out that there were 4 other children were taken that nobody said anything about.
Or if they did, no one cared enough about them.
Right.
Okay, you make your way over to the barracks. Um, and as you enter, again, you have 4 guards kind of sitting there leisurely, kind of half uniform, um, half geared up, basically. Falero sitting over at the desk, um, dealing with stacks of papers, um, making checks on different stacks of papers, and writing notes on a third stack of papers, and basically he's got a whole lot of papers. Um, as you come in, one of the guards doesn't even say anything to you. He just kind of points at Falero. Um,
Did you have a wind follow you in to blow those papers away?
not yet.
Okay.
We'll see. Um, yeah, you approach Falero's desk, and
Well, please. And then I'm going to my other office.
he is completely, entirely
I heard
absorbed
somebody
in what
call
he's
that.
doing. He doesn't even he doesn't even notice you walk up.
I'll grab the packs of papers out of my bag and kind of hand them over, kind of put them in front of his gaze.
He kind of flinches back for a moment, looking down at the papers that just suddenly appeared on his desk, and there's almost a look of panic as his process has been interrupted. And he kind of stops and looks at the papers again, looks up at you, looks back at the papers, and back up at you. Says, after kind of a half breath, he says, "Um, what can I do for you?"
I think we might be done with those uh papers, the reports on the missing children. Um, we have you found has your team found anything else out on the disappearances by chance?
Afraid we haven't as yet. Um, Unfortunately, we are still looking. It seems like um, whoever's doing this is very skilled in not leaving behind any evidence. Have you found anything?
Not 100%, but we have found some interesting. I think, and I'll look around to the rest of the Valkyries and say, I think we're all pretty certain on who it might be. Um, and then I will go into the whole thing of I tried or I we went and talked to all the parents and looked at all the places there were, um switch tabs. Um uh Lisa's uh had disappeared um outside. So we really don't know what went on there. But Durkar, was it Durkar? Or was it Aramel? I don't know. One of them found a print near the river that looked like an instrument had been placed down in like the mud or the dirt. Um, Ryan um, usually leaves his window cracked just a bit to get fresh air in the room, but his window was completely open. Um, and there was a piece of cloth uh, outside the window and some blood on the windowsill, and um, it was he may have been taken, but he may have also walked out on his own accord. Harry um, did not. Harry left of his own accord. There's no doubt about it. Um, he took some time. He got out of bed by himself. By the way that the sheets looked, he got dressed of his own accord, leaving his pajamas on the floor. Took the time to put his shoes on. His window was closed, and it looks from all accounts as though he left on his own. No scratches from somebody that might have been trying to enter with the tools that people do nefarious things with on the door, but there were scratches that looked like a stool was dragged towards the door, which is according to Harry, according to Hetty and Wick, um, the is how he would typically open the door. He would take over a stool to the door, climb up on it, and unlock the door, and then pull the door open and then leave. And lastly, Becky, she had never come home. There was honestly not much to look at in her room, but talking with Jeannie and Maya about instruments, we went and talked to people that would have a heavier type instrument that might be set down on a stand of sorts or be set into or onto the ground. And um, the ones that uh, the ones that came to mind were harps, cellos, possibly a lute for um, your smaller statured people. Um, and we checked out the harp at the Liar's Lyre. Did not seem to fit the profile under any circumstances. We checked out the lute at or Leighton's lute at his shop, and again, um, it did not seem to fit the profile. And the one that unfortunately did fit the profile, which is very interesting, is Furton's cello that uh, seems to have some sort of a magical nature to it that allows certain spells that can lure or charm uh, people away um, over time, and you can use the instrument over an 8-hour period and help lure those people um, with essentially a spell of suggestion. To make matters worse, and I'll look over at Reardon. Reardon talked to somebody, um, and he found out that there are more than 4 children missing. there are, in fact, 8 children missing. Uh, 4 of the children that have gone missing, I don't know if they were reported to you or if your militia guards didn't think it was of consequence or what happened. But 4 of the children that went missing are people that don't have parents or loved ones looking after them. Um, and this person that Reardon talked to noticed that on the last few times that children were going missing, there was a bassy music on the air at night or whenever it was occurring, and kind of a music that might come from a cello.
As you mentioned all this stuff, especially about the 4 additional missing children, the color in Falero's eyes just kind of drain, or face just kind of drains. He says, "Oh gods, that's
And the fact that he makes those really, and you guys might like him. To and I don't want to say one way or another, but to me, those really creepy dolls makes me wonder if they're not actually children."
yeah." The color from Flare's face just kind of drains. Says, "Oh God, this is horrible." And you really think this the doll maker's involved?
I'm gonna look around at everybody else, um, as I kind of like, the dolls are really creepy. Um, Initially, we were talking about getting, I guess, a couple dolls made for our golden friend here, and I asked if what he needed magically as far as essences and stuff, and he said he didn't need an essence, but what I never asked is if he actually used children themselves, and it just, it's very suspect. What are you guys' thoughts?
Well, I agree. I think that of all the information we've gotten, the doll maker is the most likely candidate. But how we prove it, I don't know.
That brings up the thing with the dolls he's going to make me. All he has is scales. So does that mean he needs the rest of me, or are those scales good substitutes? If that's the case,
I guess you could wake up someday sitting on a shelf looking out at the shop.
well, if that comes to pass, you'll know where to go.
Um, Everyone, give me a perception check.
Oh my God, I beat Valakad.
I mean,
Or is
not
that the
technically.
cleric?
Technically, Balcat had a 19.
No, I mean he rolled twice, so that must have been the other cleric.
The cleric's the bottom one. Or, yeah.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, well, basically everything except for Baron. Everyone except for Baron, I should say, is going to hear the sound of heavy boots along with the um, staccato sound of a tapping cane. And or staccato tap of a cane, I should say. Um, and after you've heard it for a moment, you kind of look at one another and wonder, what the hell's that? Where's that coming from? Falero catches on and starts to look around, and you watch as Osric steps through the door with two um, militia members in full uniform follow him. He steps through the door, just kind of looks around the room, and in a voice you never knew could come from a halfling, he shouts, "Get your ass! Get off your ass! Get into uniform! And fall in!" And the four guards that are lazing about the front room, or the front of the guardhouse, literally jump out of the chairs and bolt. They come back less than 2 minutes later, fully uniformed, and they fall into line in front of Osric, who is currently very not happy with them. He leaves them standing at attention and walks over to Falero, who stands up and just throws his arms around Osric and says, "I'm done. You can have it back." At which point, Osric sits down, kind of looks at all the paperwork on his desk, and says, um, uh, it's good to be back. And Falero just kind of looks at the rest of you um, with this like relieved grin on his face, and looks at the rest of the guards still standing at attention, and then looks back at Osric and quickly fills him in on basically everything you guys have been doing for him, the investigation, everything, and Osric turns back to you guys and says, "So, uh, do you guys want to finish this, or do you want to leave this to us? It sounds like you guys have suspects and even evidence, though it appears to be circumstantial for the most part. Um, if you feel like you've done your part, I can take over, or I can let you bring it home. It's up to you.
We'll look around at everybody else. What do you want to do?
I would say if any of the guards know what any of those kids look like, to go look at some of those dolls and if there's a similarity.
Well, you've all seen pictures of the kids.
Yeah, but we didn't do investigations to check, so that's why I'm saying send them.
I'm thinking that Osric has just taken his office over again. He's got a lot on his plate, and we're already well invested in this investigation. So we should go ahead and finish, at least as far as he wants us to go.
We could try
That's the
that.
question.
We could
What
try
is
that.
he? Go ahead.
We could try that basement entrance. Maybe some of the children are down there still.
Yeah, if Dukar will be the watch, I'll go down and check out in the basement. You can go back to and uh, talk to him about his instrument.
I
Or
was gonna say, you
whatever.
really want a
Keep him
7 foot
busy.
tall golden beacon to be your lookout?
Yeah, I do. It's not gonna be dark. It's daylight. Going
You're
down
called.
there.
You're called a distraction. I'm called a distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can, go back and thank him for mentioning Furton, because I might actually, I might actually think about getting a loot. And if Furton hadn't mentioned that to us, um, and Becky's mom's, but that's besides the point. If Furton hadn't mentioned that to us, then I would have never found an instrument, maybe, and that could provide possibly some distraction.
Just keep him from going down in the basement. Oh, sounds like a plan to me.
Where would you like me?
You're sneaky. You could go down with Reardon.
Yeah, we can get
Okay.
on. Don't know how big that basement is, but
Okay. Well, then let's head up back out there and get it done.
works for me.
Okay, at this point, it is starting to get dark. Um, Osric bids you his farewells, and Valero just happily waves goodbye as you guys head out of the barracks, with the guards still standing at attention. Um, make your way over to the dollmaker Furton's. Um, let's see. You get to the door, and you can still see light inside. Um, The doors does stay closed, but there's definitely light inside, and you can still see movement.
As Iramel and Rudin head towards the side or back or wherever they're going, I will grab Iramel by the shoulder and say, "Best of luck."
Thank you. We'll be careful.
Okay. Um.
And I will go up and knock on the door.
Okay. So Reardon, Aramil, and Durkar are all headed around to the back.
Yep.
That leaves, what, Baron and
Valakad going
Valakad.
into the front. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll position my. I'll bring out my big lizard and have him just sit on the road on my riding lizard, and I'll have the dragon go up on high in the house so I can get a 360 of the surroundings.
Okay.
And
Um. First of all, um, Reardon and Aramil and Durkar, I guess. As you get to the cellar door at the back, leads down into the ground. Um, there is a pretty heavy duty padlock on the door. And as you are both roguey, what would you like to do?
well, I think we just need to use my thieves' tools and pick the lock.
Okay, go ahead and give me a
Uh,
thieves' tools check. Unfortunately, this is not one of those abilities where two heads are better than one.
It won't work. It's not letting it go.
It's probably asking you for a query on your screen.
Oh, that's it. It's underneath. Yes.
Go ahead and give me dexterity.
There it goes.
Okay. 19. Um, you slip your tools into the lock, and with a deft twist, there's a soft click, and the lock pops open. You're able to pull the lock off and pull the doors open. Give me a stealth check. Reardon and Ariel and Durkar.
Job, Airmail.
Yeah, that
Here's
crit totally covers Durkar.
Durkar, the armored tank.
For up to 1 minute, Airmill has 31. Not that, one's being really do all that much on a nat 20, but whatever. I helped.
Yes, yes, you did. Um, okay. Um, you guys start to pull it open, and just as it's about to start screeching, you know, the metal on the hinges start to do their screech. Uh, Aramil stops it, and I don't know. I don't know, Aramil. How do you stop it from screeching? Do you have something there? Do you have like grease or something in your pack?
Hang on a second.
Well, and these tools would be something that place on hinges so they wouldn't squeak.
You think there'd be something in these
Yeah,
tools to do that?
yeah. There should be some oil or
Yeah.
grease
Okay, makes sense.
there. Yeah, something to assist a uh, stiff lock to work better.
That makes sense. I'll go with that. Um,
All right.
you stop the door from being pulled open, and quickly grease the hinges or oil the hinges. Um, and the doors open almost silently, and you are able to go down the stairs again, almost silently. Durkar, I understand you are the lookouts. I mean, you're staying upstairs. Are you gonna go down with them or what?
No, I stay out, but I'm not going to be like right next to it. I'll be. What's around the back of this shop?
Um,
Probably the refuse bin.
you're kind of in an alley, and um, there's about a 4.5 foot wooden fence. And it's like a 5 foot wide alley, and then you have like a 4.5 foot fence and another 5 foot wide alley, and you have the backside of a house, a halfling house, so you can like literally see over top of it.
Okay, yeah, I'll just go to the corner here and keep the door in line, but that way I can just see around this part of the house.
Okay. Um. So Durkar, go ahead and give me a perception check for now, and I'll use it when it's appropriate. Unless you want to do it later, it's up to you.
Depends on what I roll.
Well, unfortunately, you either roll it now or you roll it later. You don't get to do both.
There you go.
Okay. Um. So as Durkar sets up to stand watch, Aramil and Reardon head down the stairs into the cellar. Um, Balakad, what are you doing up there with Baron?
I will knock on the door.
Okay. You knock on the door, and the movement you can hear from inside goes quiet. You hear a little bit of mumbling, and then after a moment, the door kind of cracks open a bit, and you can just see this little eyeball poking out. And after a moment, the door opens a little wider. It says, um,
I know it still hasn't been 10 days. I had to come back and express my gratitude for um, mentioning Leighton having that loot, because I think I found the instrument that I would like to learn. And if it wasn't for you, that I wouldn't have found that. So I just wanted to come and thank you and give you the great news.
he kind of gives you an incredulous look. Go ahead and give me a persuasion check just for fun. Okay. Kind of gives you an incredulous look, and just kind of a these people are crazy kind of a grin on his face. And he slowly lets the door um, fall open and offers you and Baron entry to his shop. Do you guys enter?
Yes.
Okay. As two of you shuffle in, he kind of looks out at the empty street and kind of gives you a puzzled, kind of glance puzzled out there for a moment and wondering where the others are. He just kind of casually shrugs and um, lets the door close. And he says, well, since you're here, would you like some tea? Or
Sure.
can I? Oh, okay. So he goes into the back and starts rummaging around in you can guess his kitchen. Starts making some tea and comes back out and sits at the counter slash work table and says, "Tea will be ready shortly." Um,
In the meantime, how did you get into this profession? Like, I mean, you your craft is very interesting, and it's it's not every day that you see something as exquisite as your dolls. I mean, they are amazing. Like, I I would have never even thought about growing up and making dolls for a living. Like,
give me a perception check.
Someone playing tennis on the screen here.
no, houses.
That was
The blue X is
Oh,
where you're standing.
okay. I didn't even see that they were drawn because I was down too low. Okay.
um Uh, as he asks that, he kind of the polite smile on his face kind of disappears, and he gestures to the wall behind him, where you see 12 dolls on two separate shelves. Actually, three shelves because one of the dolls is separated off to the right. And as you look at the doll, you kind of there's something that looks very familiar about it. And after looking at it for a bit, you realize that it looks an awful lot like him. Looks like a much younger version of him. And he gestures to the doll and pulls it down. And he says, I had a friend when I was younger. And when I lost my son to illness, my friend taught me how to make a memorial, something to remember my son by. Now, when I hold this doll or talk to this doll, it feels like I am talking to my son. And of course, there's this, and he kind of carefully arranges the doll and locks little pins in place so that the doll actually stands up straight. It's actually standing on its feet. And he reaches and touches a sigil on the palm of one of the hands. And suddenly the doll is no longer doll, and it looks alive. But it's got a very slight blur to it. And you watch as the it's almost like the image is having a conversation with someone who's not there.
Can you do an insight check on believing whether his friend was a friend or something along that line? His friend that taught him
Okay.
how to do this.
Explain to me in a little better detail what you're trying to find out.
Another idea that I'm having at the moment is that he is trapped inside this doll, and his friend was a demon devil, something along a spirit or something like that, and wasn't really a quote unquote friend.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to figure out if realistically, like, if it was a friend that he knew for a while, kind of thing, or a friend that just entered his life at the right time.
Okay, give me a. Go ahead and give me an insight check. Okay, 19. Um, First of all, you do believe that this is his son. In this doll, but the intonation and the inflection when he said friend, um, definitely not a friend.
Gotcha. And I will say I'm so sorry for your loss. It's definitely good that you have at least have a reminder of your son. I totally understand why you do this now.
If I felt that if I could do this for others, then perhaps I could ease their pain. And so far, the others have not complained. And he kind of glances at the other 11 dolls on his wall before glancing back at you.
I'll mention, kind of put my hand out towards the rest. So the rest of these, then, are they waiting for your customers to pick them up, or are are these your personal dolls that like the one of our friend Durkar that you wanted for yourself?
These, he kind of gestures to them and says, um, some of these are um, simply dolls. They are not the memorials that I make. Um, when I don't have a current commission, I simply make the shell. More to keep my hands busy and um, nimble. My fingers nimble.
I will say I will totally or sorry, I will say I totally understand, and I will try and um really pay attention to him on this next part. As I say, the devil, or the idle mind, is a devil's playground. Or so I've heard.
I have heard that as well.
Insight check.
Go and roll another insight check. Damn. 23. Um, Something in the way he um, something in his body language, the way his his lips curled in a slight smile, um, or maybe it was the way he nodded his head. Um, there's that response was definitely very loaded. Um, he's definitely carrying a lot more to his. That response is definitely carrying a lot more than just agreeing to the comment. If that makes sense.
Makes 100% sense. Yep, definitely.
Okay. Um, with that, we're gonna go ahead and put you on hold for a moment, Sky or Valakad,
Sounds
and
great.
return to the other three. Um, Durkar, your perception was a 15. Um, you watch as um, the um, proprietor of the business next door to the west exits the back of his or hers shop, throws some refuse in a large pile at the back of the building, and then takes a few moments to grab a broom and um, sweep some debris away from their back door. Um, it takes the whole process takes maybe 5 minutes total. Um, but as you watch, at no point. Oh well, let's see. Yeah. At no point do they seem to notice you standing in the shadows. They are apparently off in their own world because they're not noticing the giant golden lizard standing in the shadows of the building next door. I don't know how they didn't notice you, but they didn't.
Minded their own.
Yeah. Um.
Watching TikTok videos while crossing the crosswalk, not realizing there's a car there.
Yeah, something like that. Um. And your dragon. Um. Dragon lands on the top of the roof, kind of on a little ridge up there. Um. But almost immediately, a pair of owls. No, not owls. Let's call it something else. Some other kind of bird. Some other kind of night bird. Start to harass your dragon because your dragon has set down in way too close a proximity to their territory. So your little pseudo dragon is being harassed by a couple of um, nocturnal birds.
Bloody. I'll have it. I'll put it the pseudo dragon away for, and then after the moment, then bring him back down on my shoulder so he's away from the owls.
Okay. Pseudo dragon just kind of pops and disappears, and even from your um, position in the shadows, you can hear the squawks of surprise from the birds way up above. And you watch as they soar and circle around the roof of the house for the next 5 or 10 minutes. Just agitated and trying to figure out what the hell just happened.
Stupid owls.
In the meantime, your pseudo dragon is just kind of licking a couple of scratches and nuzzling up against your neck, trying to calm down. And with that, Reardon and Aramil. See, you are both elves, so you both have dark vision. You make your way down into the cellar. It's dark, damp. You can smell the you can smell the different moss and algae that are growing in different crevices and corners of this room. You suspect that, just coming down the stairs, you can see well enough to tell that the cellar covers approximately the same floor space as the house above. Obviously, there are numerous posts to support um, the house above. So it's not a completely empty room, but it is for the most part devoid of furniture. There's a couple of bookcases or shelving units along the wall. A few case or wooden boxes, wooden crates stacked up against the walls in the corners. In one side of the room has a work table on it with a series of candles set up on it. There is something on the work table currently, but you can't make it out in the dark.
I'll reach out and light the candles so we can see what's going on.
Okay. As you light the candles, there are several other lights in the room that light up at the same time. So the entire room kind of fills up with light, and it's at first it's kind of have to hide your eyes because it's a sudden burst of light that you weren't expecting. But after a moment, you get used to it, and you kind of look around. Those shelves and those wooden crates that you saw, you can see that they're full of different kinds of supplies, leather and wood, different kinds of leathers, kinds of woods, some different kinds of furs. Basically, the kinds of things that Furton had said that his dolls were made from. There's even a small smelting bench in the corner. It's covered in dust. Doesn't look like it's been used in a very long time. But there is a crucible filled with what used to be liquid metal. It was left in the crucible to cool, which, yeah, was left in the crucible to cool. Um, oh, you guys probably want to know about the project, don't you? Give me a. Well, if you want to take a look at the project specifically, give me an investigation check. If you want to look around the room to see what else you guys might see, give me a perception check. And I'm not saying you can't do one now and the other one later. I'm just trying to do an order here. Airmail just threw them both out.
Yeah.
Okay. The investigation check on the project itself. Um, as you look at it, first glance, it looks like a pretty grisly scenes. It almost looks like a small child with its with half a rib cage. One of its legs is kind of twisted up in a bad angle, and the um, it's missing like half of his skull. But after your eyes adjusting and looking at a little more in depth, you can see that it's not actually a child. It's just the basically framework for one of these dolls, and you can see that what you thought was ribs. It's actually just a wooden framework, and what you thought was the skull is just a um, basically half of the head of this doll that's um, made from wood, and apparently it's two pieces before that are connected in some way before the finishing of the doll. And and it looked very creepy at first, and even now, um, that it's not what it was when you first looked at it, it's still kind of a little unnerving. But yeah, it's a doll that's being worked on. Doesn't look like it's been worked on for a while. There is some dust covering it, but not as much as some other places in this room. As far as your perception check, um, Mr. Reardon, are you giving him advantage on, or are you helping him on this one? Reardon? You guys can hear me, right?
Yep.
Okay. Reardon, you fall asleep on us? Ken? Can someone else say something to him? Maybe he just can't hear me.
Ken, are you there?
Okay. Since he is not responding, we will assume he's not giving you advantage on this. Which means your perception check, you are seeing nothing else of interest in the room. It just looks like um, a dusty, unused workshop. Is there anything else you want to do down there, Aramil?
No, I haven't seen anything that suggests any further investigation. So I'm thinking should put out the candles and go back up the stairs.
Okay. As you put out one of the candles, they all snuff themselves out.
Isn't that interesting? You know, that little bit of magic and the fact that there's magic being used in the cello, it suggests that maybe our Mr. Furton is much more of a magic user than he generally lets people know. Really could be quite diverse in what he's able to do with magic and the children. But I don't know how we tell.
Who are you saying this to? Is it just to Reardon, or
Yes.
we lost somebody? Sky, Valleyhead. Did you disappear? No, not Valleyhead.
No. In Discord, we're all here.
Didn't we have one more person here in Roll20?
Mm, shouldn't be. Just 5 of us.
Oh, well, I swear there's one more person on there earlier. I'm smoking something or something again. I'm sorry. Um, I'm sorry, Airmail. Who are you telling this to? I mean, Reardon's the only one nearby.
Yeah, that would be the only one that I could be telling it to.
Okay.
I don't know that it's really valid enough to bring it up with the group.
You never know. Clues are clues are clues. Did you guys exit the cellar? I'm assuming. Is that what you're doing?
Yes, exit the cellar, carefully replace the lock.
Find your lizard friend.
Yes. And then we head back toward the side, not don't want to go out to the front and just wait, without entering the street until Valakid and his compatriot come out.
Okay. Back to Valakad and Baron. Is there anything else you want to discuss with the Dollmaker?
Did we ever get our tea?
Oh, yes. T did come and he poured each of you a cup. Um, just from the smell, you could tell it's a peppermint tea of some sort. Um, he sits down and, or once he's poured you each a cup, he sits down and at his, you know, shop counter slash work table and just kind of takes a long, slow draw of the tea. Just kind of takes a deep breath and lets it out, and you can tell he likes his tea.
All right. In that case, I will drink some tea. I was gonna say I was gonna wait for him to drink because never know.
Okay. He, yeah, the tea. It's a nice peppermint blend. If you like tea at all or peppermint, then you'll probably like this. If you don't like me, then you're just as well. Because yeah.
Say that they like it. Um, I'm sure Baron is much rather having an ale, but sure he'll choke it down.
Okay.
And after I get done with the tea, I will um when I get done with the tea, I will reach out to Airmill in my mind and ask if there's any reason currently to bring him in, um or if they are done, or if I should keep distracting him or what.
Okay, and hearing that, I answer telepathically that uh, we've looked at the basement, and it looks like a dusty storage place. There is a workbench that hadn't been used in a while that uh, it's like he partially finished it all and hasn't come back. But nothing really suspicious there. So I think at this point we're ready to go.
Okay, I will be out shortly, and I will look back and at towards Burton and kind of slurp the last little bit of tea down. And again, thank you for the conversation. It's nice to get to know people a little bit better and understand why people do the things that they do. And again, I cannot thank you enough for recommending going over to Layton's, because that just might be the instrument of choice for me.
Well, you're welcome. It was nice to have a little bit of company. Not something I get a whole lot of. At least not company that speaks any kind of reaches out and pats the foot of one of the dolls hanging on the wall.
Then I will start to get up and hand the teacup over towards Burton and say, "Well, we are staying at the Liar's Lair. I'm sure you kind of figured that, since we probably can't fit in the sleep and sup. But yeah, we'll be around. And again, thank you for the chat."
He nods and hops down out of the chair or out of his office stool and goes over to the door and opens it for you and says, um, "Not a problem, thank you."
And we will leave and go towards the that direction.
Okay, give me a perception check as you head out the door. Never mind. Mm,
After you leave the shop, we'll watch you go up the street toward the Liar's Lair and staying in the shadows, go along behind you and catch up to you, but not really quickly. Just kind of gradually ease our way in with the rest of you.
you do this casually. Dirkar just kind of stomps up the street.
As the rest of you join, I will say an interesting conversation. Apparently, he got into doll making by a friend that may not have been a friend. And damn it, I forget the other piece that I had asked. He had mentioned something about needing something to do. So in his spare time, when he's not working on a commission project of one of these special dolls, he works on other dolls, normal, uh, not so enchanted dolls, um, to keep his mind at bay, per se. And I mentioned that I had heard a few times that idle hands can be the devil's playground, and when he responded, it seemed a little off. Definitely like he's hiding something.
I agree with you. He's probably hiding something, but whatever it is, he's doing a good job of it. I wonder if we'll hear music in the streets in the next few days.
How much you want to bet that Durkar's the one that walks out of his room when we hear it?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Well, you can always just chain me to the bed.
No, we could follow you.
That too.
The time does get away, doesn't it?
Guess we'll head back to the Liar's Lair then.
Sounds good.
Okay. You head back to the Liar's Lair, and as you walk in, um, Angaby um, looks over at you, gives you a great big smile, and says, "Find a seat. I'll bring you some food out."
Go
And
pick a table in a corner if there's one open.
okay, you find yourself a table. Kind of have to um, move an empty mug and maybe wipe it off a bit. But um, after a few minutes, Ingby comes out, mugs in hand, and another server right behind her carrying a tray full of plates. Hands out some food and mugs to everyone. Um, and then she immediately stands leaning against Durkar. Um, with she kind of starts to play with his neck as she um, starts to chat with the group. She says, um, "So have you guys been finding everything you need in town last couple days?"
I will speak up and say, um, I think we have. Again, I wanted to thank you for letting me play your harp. It might be a little awkward carrying that around, but we went over to Layton's afterwards, and I think I might have decided on a lute. Seemed a little easier to pluck while holding it across my chest there.
Well, to each their own. Um, It was the instrument my pa gave me, and that's just what I learned. It's not particularly a calling or anything. Just it's what I had to learn. Um, well, I'm glad you guys have found everything you're looking for. And she kind of reluctantly pulls away and says, "Let me know if there's anything more I can get for you guys." And yeah, she kind of looks at Sturkar as she walks away.
I'll give her another little pat as she walks, because she's got work to do. We got stuff to discuss.
She looks back at you with a smile as she is walking away. Okay, with that, unless you guys really want to continue, let's say we go ahead and call it for the week. Pick it up next session.
Sounds good.
Gee, at this rate, you guys aren't going to get any combat in for a while. You guys are just loving this RP. I hope everyone's enjoying it.
I like it.
I'm enjoying it. I don't know.
I'm about to become a real doll.
I don't know if you guys try to arrest him before he finishes, you may never get your doll.
I know, I was thinking about that. And then this whole thing about, do I really become the doll myself? Type of thing going on. I was like,
Or do you get a doll, but it's really another missing child?
yeah, that too.
Congratulations! Here's your miniature action figure that stands like 8 inches tall, as opposed to the one that he gets to keep. Guess what? It took a baby to create that one. Not a 12-year-old kid, but a 1-year-old kid just disappeared.
Um, I was going to say something and now I forgot.
I'm sorry.
Then say it again. Somebody go pour cold water on Kenny.
Mm. Yeah, did he fall asleep on us?
I
No.
haven't heard anything for a while.
What?
You fall asleep
There he is.
on us again?
No.
Our investigation of the cellar didn't go so good because you didn't help out, man.
Okay, well, we're gonna call it for until next week.
It's been an interesting story today. Uh, we'll see you next week.
I'm glad you guys seem to be enjoying this mystery. I didn't wasn't sure I was gonna be able to pull it off, but it seems to be working out. So
Yeah, it does.
That's what happens when we play along with it.
Yeah, another one of my fears was you guys were gonna find out about the kids, and just be like, okay, well, it's got to be this person, and then you just went and killed him. It's like, oh well, you know, no real investigating. Just it must be this person. Go kill him.
Yeah, but then you don't get the kids back and you don't get any real answers.
That's not this group. That's the Margrave group from the Pact group.
Actually, I'm not so sure the pack group would do it. Margrave group definitely.
And I'm not saying that Elro is, an evil, murder-hungry hobo, but he really doesn't like people very well, and he doesn't really care about the back and forth because he really doesn't know what anybody's really saying. So kill him.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you guys take care. We'll check in again on Sunday.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Do we have a game on Sunday?
I hope so.
Okay.
We everybody, if everybody except for Kenny shows up.
I'll be there.
Damn it, Kenny.
I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Have a good one, Durkar. Glad to hear it, Ken.
Night.
Good night. Oh, I should probably stop this recording.